What's going on, guys? It's Destiny Heroic, and I'm coming at you with something a little different today. This is the Heraldic Beast deck that I've been using lately on DevPro. So what happened was I was randomly playing, and some guy played me using this deck and beat me with it, and I just thought it was really cool. So I decided to build it, and it's pretty fun. It's definitely not a tier 1 deck. It's probably solidly in the tier 2 area. Because it's very technically minded and it relies on small monsters making exceed monsters. And there's not a whole lot of like combo explosiveness going on in this deck. But it's definitely worth a look. So it uses stuff that's available only in the OCG at the moment, mainly the plain coats and the Amphisbaena and the field spell. But I've got a bunch of videos for you, a bunch of duels, and enjoy. So my first game, I'm playing against a Gadget Geargia deck that uses Machina. I open pretty weak, but I do have a Leo, so that's not a big deal. I have the Advanced Heraldry Arts and the Heraldry Reborn and another Leo in my hand, so I'm pretty much set for this game. It's just a matter of getting through his backfield and then dealing with whatever he has after that. In his hand, he already has a Machina Fortress, but he's going to have to discard another card in order to play it. So I'm able to recur my Leo to get another search off of it, and in the main phase 2 of this turn, I'm going to make the Progenitor, which is going to let me ensure that I get that Leo search off. At this point, he's going to start playing his machines and get his Machina Fortress out. He runs over my Progenitor, and I get my Leo search off, but he has a Divine Wrath for the Progenitor, which isn't a big deal. It empties his hand, and I still get my Leo search. So I take a bit of damage there. And when I start my turn, I draw into the field spell, which lets me search for another Advanced Heraldry Art. The problem is, when you use the field spell, you can only make Psychic Exceeds, which isn't a big deal because I want to make the Progenitor anyway. And so I can use my Unicorn and bring out the other Progenitor that he destroyed, so I can get the double Foolish Burial effect again. Fortunately, he can only destroy my cards with his Machina Fortress. So I get the Progenitor search and the Leo search off again, and I dump 2 Aberconways into my graveyard, which is going to let me just generate infinite resources while he is expending his own. So I'm in a pretty good position here to take the game. It's just a matter of grinding through his cards until all he has left is like 1 card at a time. He has a Forbidden Chalice for my Lightning Chidori play, which is kind of weird. I kind of wanted to stack the Fortress on top of his deck. In retrospect, that probably wasn't as good of a play because he was just going to draw it, and he had a gadget in hand. So he was going to be able to summon it again. I have the Exceed Reborn from my Chidori, which is nice. I empty out my hand and stack his Fortress on top of his deck. And then I just flip over all my spells and make another Chidori. I'm able to double stack the top of his deck, which is kind of cool. He's going to draw into a gadget. And I'm just generating so much that he just scoops. So the next game is against Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers presents a particular problem for Heraldic Beast because so much of the deck revolves around graveyard manipulation. And if you can get to his Necro Valley soon enough, then you tend to have some problems. I open with a Leo and an Aberconway, and I go to I'm reading a Spy, but he has the Recruiter, which is unfortunate. So my attempt to destroy his Spy fails, but I do get a Leo search off. And I have the Heraldry Reborn. He hasn't gotten his Necro Valley yet, so I get my Reborn up for my Leo, so I'll be able to get another search off. At this point, he does draw into his he does get his Necro Valley off, and he sets a Spy. So I go to attack the Spy, and I want to. Knowing I have the warning, but he has the Imperial Tombs to counter it, which is kind of crappy. So I go and I make an Exciton Knight in an attempt to blow everything up, but he reduces the number of cards he has and makes the play useless, which kind of sucked. So continuing on, he's got nothing but monsters in his hand now, and I don't get to keep my Veiler, which is okay because I don't really need it. I do have 2 wind monsters that I can use to make a Lightning Chidori and just ruin his entire field. His Spy goes away, and he's going to draw into his Necro Valley. Plus, it lets me access my graveyard and recycle some of my monsters. So he draws into his Necro Valley, and at this point, he has just got to get through my Lightning Chidori, but thankfully I have a Mirror Force for it. So it's pretty much game at this point because all he's got is the Recruiter, and he's going to draw into his Necro Valley during the next turn. So I get my Leo Search off, and I've got game on the board here, and he realizes that, and I believe he's just going to scoop on the last attack, or just take it anyway. So the next game I played was against X-Sabers. You don't see a lot of X-Sabers anymore. This guy was using the supply unit from the upcoming structure deck. I have Foolish Burial for my Leo, so it lets me load up on good cards. I have a Basilisk for an opening play, which is okay. If he destroys the Basilisk, it'll make my Advanced Heraldry Art live, which is nice. He doesn't make any offensive play, and I just keep drawing into more monsters, so I'm loading up on cards, and I play a Lightning Chidori to block his draw phase and lock out his monster. And I make a big push using my Progenitor. I don't care if he destroys the Progenitor because I'll get a Leo effect, and I'll dump some Aberconways into my graveyard. So he plays the supply unit again, and he sets his Super Nibble Mega Hamster, which is not what I was reading he had. At this point, I didn't know what he was playing. So I attack into it, and he brings out a Dark Soul, and that's what lets me realize what he's playing. So obviously I don't want him getting his search off, so I don't attack the Dark Soul. It's face down, so I can't bounce it with the Lightning Chidori. He draws into his supply again. And he's going to go for a big push with his Fall Troll, but I have the Torrential to blow away his field. He gets one draw off the supply unit and a search in the inflames for Dark Soul, but I get a Leo effect and a Progenitor effect. So at this point, I'm definitely not worried about what he's going to do. So I draw into a... Okay, and in this game he's playing Books. I don't quite know what he's playing at this point, so I just make a defensive play. He goes to attack over my Basilisk with his Justice. Fortunately, it blows it up before he gets his search, and I'm able to MST his tower on the chain so that he doesn't get the summon effect. So at this point, I'm just going to make a damage push, and I'm going to summon my Progenitor. He Veilers it because he wants to Book of Life his Justice in his next turn. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any other plays, so he has to just regenerate his hand and pass. He adds the World to his hand. That's because he's got the Phoenix Wing Blast face down, and he wants to Book of Life it. So that's a very it's a different way of looking at the spell books, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, he has a Wing Blast for my Progenitor, so I don't get the search. And he summons out his World, and my attempt to Fiendish Chain, it fails. So, unfortunately, at this point, I feel like I am boned. I do have the triple Advanced Heraldry Art in my hand to attempt to push back against his field. So, he's in a very strong position at this point. He does a whole bunch of damage, and he's got his Spellbook of Fate and his tower. So, at this point, I draw into like all of my recursion cards, and I'm going to attempt to make an Honor Arc, but he has the Fate for it. If he had turned it face down, I would have kept the materials on the field, and I wouldn't have been able to use my second Advanced Heraldry Art. So I do make the arc to get rid of his world, and I make the progenitor to set up my next turn's play. He is able to draw into his fate again. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot of defense going on, and I've got two big monsters on his field. He turns his guy face down so he can get his search. And I've got the bottomless. Off of his tower draw, he gains he gains a temperance, and he probably should have gotten his wisdom because I have the bottomless for it, and the star hall pumps it up so that I can actually bottomless it. So he just scoops. This game I'm playing Madolches. The key to beating the Madolche deck is A, to keep the chateau off the field, and B, keep them from getting more than one monster on the field. Unfortunately, I don't have really a starting hand that's conducive to that. But fortunately, he can't make an exceed play with his level 3 and level 4 on the field. And with my Basilisk, I'm able to pop his Magileine by MSTing the field spell. And when the field spell's gone, all his monsters go back into the deck instead of back to the hand. So I'm doing all right. I have the Veiler for his Mufoy, so he can't make a play at that point. And I'm just drawing. I drew into another Veiler, so I'm gonna. So I'm in a pretty good position to hold off of his Tiramisu combo. The Veiler for the Angeli leaves him again with a 3 and a 4 on the field that he can't do anything with. And I'm going to make an Exciton Knight to blow up his field and my Progenitor, so that my Progenitor effect will dump a Leo and search for it. And then I'm able to use my Unicorn to bring out my Progenitor again. I can't do any damage, so I just have to pass. So at this point, he makes an Honor Arc to get rid of my Exciton. He can't kill my other thing. And fortunately, I have Double Reborn to make my own Honor Arc. And I'll get a Leo search as well. So at this point, he's boned and he just scoops. So the next game is against Raccoons. This was a really good game. This really shows you how much how well the Heraldic Beast deck works when it's running smoothly. And you'll see he's got Wind Up Kitten here. I've got the Veiler for it, so he can't really make any kind of a play with his level 2. So I've got a bunch of heraldry spells, and I've got the field spell up, which is letting me play more of them. So I've got the Progenitor, which is good. I attack into his Nibble Mega Hamster, and it's at this point that I actually realized that he's playing Raccoons. I've actually thought he was playing Wind-Ups before, but that's okay. He's going to go and make a second Wind-Up Kitten, but he walks right into my Progenitor effect. It actually does have an effect where there's 2 copies of the same card. You can blow up one of them. So I blow up the Wind-Up that hasn't used its effect yet. And he makes his Sendayu with his token. I get my Progenitor effect. And my Basilisk doesn't work, unfortunately, because he has other beasts on the field. But I've got the Advanced Heraldry Art, which lets me play my 2 guys from the graveyard and lets me summon the Genome Heraldor. So I can absorb the effect of Sendayu and make my own Raccoon token, which is really cool. So I've got... I haven't used a normal summon yet, so I make a Lightning Chidori, get rid of his token and his backfield, and I'm able to attack into his other stuff by bringing back my Progenitor and just dealing a whole bunch of damage. So he's got the... he summons out a Nimble Momonga. I don't really want to attack it, so I just let him have it. And he's going to make another Sendayu at this point, which is fine. He has to attack over the Lightning Chidori. But unfortunately, in doing that, he leaves my Genome Heraldor on the field, which lets me copy the effect again and make another Raccoon token. So when I use that effect, I gain the name and the effect of Sendayu's, which is he's not destroyed when there are other beasts on the field. So he is able to survive and attack through his Sendayu with its effect negated. So with my double Heraldry Reborn, I can make another Lightning Chidori and clear his token, leaving him with very little to work with. And I have another Unicorn, which lets me bring up the Progenitor again. So this is an example of how the deck is really menacing when it's working smoothly, and how Genome Heraldor in the right situation is a boss. So I have a Leo, and I just have a whole bunch of attack power. He has to bring out a Raikou face up, which is no big deal. And at this point, I'm going to use my Chidori effect to stack his Solidarity so that he's going to draw it, and I know he's not going to draw a monster, so I'm in a pretty good position. And knowing that he is boned, he just honorably accepts defeat by letting me attack for game. So that was pretty good. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Peace!